So it looks like we have the chat bans going for this first game of the tournament this week. Looks like Caston and Zyre being the first two, followed by... Ah! Dens! Holy cow! DD Dens Bruja is... da man. Da man. Now the way this works is I have to go... with that RP, I have to go and buy a champ. Okay? And then after that, I play a game with that champ and record a video with commentary of me playing at it. That's the deal I've made with everyone. If you buy me a champ or skin, I will play a game with that champion with commentary for you. I'm actually going to record a whole bunch of those tonight after the stream's over. So, thank you, Dens. You are awesome. That is freaking cool. I have to kick it off the screen, unfortunately, because we have some client bans to worry about now. Oh, Kiro, play nice. Shoutouts to Kiro_Cola for recovering all of my flower points and having some really cool commentary during Sakuriono's portion of the Day of Dominion stream on Thursday. That's pretty neat. I'm going to put that laugh on a 10-hour loop, by the way. You have been warned. That will exist on the internet.
Alright, so what teams are this?
That is a very good question, Ryan Gold River, which deserves an answer. I don't have the bracket in front of me. I'm trying to dig it up right now. I know this is game A from the bracket, but in my frantically trying to... Wait a minute, what do you mean I don't have the bracket link?
I
have it memorized.
Shows, but which is which, Moloko dude? Which is which?
It's challenge.com/DominateDominion, whatever the number of the current tournament is, /module. I don't even know what the link is for sure, but I have a feeling that will work, because it worked all the other times. DominateDominion 76/module. And this should work. And well, you know it does. I don't need someone to link me the bracket. I had it memorized before anyone could possibly tell me what it was. So this is going to be Explosive Dishwasher versus Average Joe's, according to the bracket. So, the left team, if everything is correct...
Explosive Dishwater.
Dishwasher.
Yes.
If your dishwater is exploding, that's a bad sign. You should probably leave. There's chemicals involved that you can't handle. And then the one on the right...
is Average Joe's.
Okay. Cool.
Also, I'm typing all of this into our Skype message history so that I have it saved somewhere, so that's why you're going to have a billion messages for me when you get it to work again.
Sounds amazing! Teemo, first pick up for the blue team. Teemo brings a blind to the table. He's highly mobile, does a lot of magic damage, and overall is just a nuisance. He doesn't quite have the insane map vision that he used to have, thanks to a Dominion-specific change, which is good. I mean...
It was a nerf to Teemo, and anything that's a nerf to Teemo is a good thing.
There was a game during Day of Dominion where every time Teemo died, I would zoom all the way in on his corpse. I don't know if anyone actually caught that during the broadcast, but that was something that happened. I still haven't had a chance to even start to work on the VODs for that. Oh, okay. Guys, I had summoner blockers turned on, however, the scene stack and XSplit was incorrect, so they weren't displaying for you guys, my bad. Yeah, everybody here takes revive. I have a little bit of an out-of-date thing. Ignore the statistics in the lower right corner. Those don't really those haven't been updated in like 2 months, but the rest of the info on here is as true as it gets, man. Usually a good player dies. If they're having a really good game, they'll still probably die about 2 to 4 times. So, I mean, even those 2 deaths that you might get in a game where you do really, really well, you can hit revive on both of those. It'll work out. Well, 50G4 Nexus, I am going to slowly put together VODs from it, but it's gonna take a while. because I have to piece them together from all the different streams and stuff that were going on. We're seeing a Katarina and J4 being picked up as well. Katarina is a character who can run the show. However, both the person playing Katarina and her allies have to know how to play Katarina. If you have 3 low health people, and you have a, let's say, half health Katarina, and a basically no health J4 on your team, that J4 needs to dash in and kill someone, and then die in the process. Do you know why? Because then you can reset Katarina's skills, and she can kill the remaining 2 people, as opposed to backing and leaving all 3 of them alive. There's a lot of times where a situation like that will occur, where the Katarina is just sitting there going, I don't care, just get yourself killed, just pick up 1 KB for me, and I'll clean up the whole fight. And then her ally doesn't, because they have been taught that they need to live. While living is a good thing, if you really want to showcase Katarina's damage, you have to feed her those assists to reset her skills.
They do have a kill, so that'll help out a little bit in the not needing to die in order to get that reset for Kat.
Yes, it is very useful to have a Kale, especially with a character like Katarina or Master Yi, to a much lesser extent AP Tristana. I think the other people we've seen Infeed play that, and we're seeing a Tristana pick on the other side here, so it's possible we're going to see one in this game as well, which would be really interesting. But she's one of those characters who can go either way pretty handily. We'll also see Ezreal, who is very good because he has global map presence. You might say, how does he have global map presence? Easy, he can shoot his gun thing. It's a spell called True Shot Barrage. It has infinite range, which means he can interrupt towers from all the way across the map, which is very, very useful to have. And we're seeing Amumu as well. Amumu's crowd control is very good. I still, to this day, feel the Radius nerf on Curse the Sad Mummy. I'm still missing people by just 1 character model that I used to hit with that. But his ultimate and all of his AoE, that's what he has going for him. He gets into a team fight and he just splashes damage everywhere. Possibly literally. And then we have Malphite, Malphite AoE airborne, real solid character. Used to be the strongest tank in Dominion to the point where he was banned constantly. But as AP got better in the game, got a little bit more figured out, he's no longer a priority picker ban like he used to be. Still really solid in any lineup. You can go a little bit glassy on him too. Not like full-on glass, but like plexiglass, and you can have some damage on him as well. And we're seeing Annie, Vayne, and Kale on the other side. Kale is a ranged AD carry that can hit everyone on your team for steadily increasing damage with each swing. That's pretty frightening. Annie, high AoE damage, good burst. And Vayne, whenever there's a Vayne on the enemy team, most things end with Silver Bolt proc, somebody dies. Because the meta in Dominion is be durable and delay. Durable and delay, that's the 2 things to remember. You want to be able to survive the skirmishes that happen throughout the map. The poke, you want to be able to survive that. And you want to be able to delay on your tower for as long as you can.
So
Vayne doesn't
I
care.
took a quick look over at Mistakes, Runes, and Masteries, and he's actually running AP, so it could very well be an AP Tristana here.
That would be fascinating.
And we'd have the war of the resets versus the resets. I feel like Katarina wins out a little bit in that reset versus reset war. But she is going to have to be competing against quite a bit of tankiness on the Amumu and Malphite especially.
See, Tristana has 1 ability that resets, whereas Katarina gets multiple resets.
Yeah. True. Oh god, if all of Tristana's abilities reset, that'd be pretty terrible.
That'd be horrifying. You know what would be really cool? If for April Fool's Day they gave everyone in the game Cat's passive in place of their normal passive.
I was just thinking to myself, like, what champion would that be most overpowered on?
Twitch chat, what do you guys think? Viewers out there watching the stream, if you could take Katarina's passive, what is the champion that would be the strongest on? Mind you, you have to take away their existing passive in order to give it to them. So Annie would lose her stun, but would get the resets.
So I believe that it's minus 15 seconds on all of your cooldowns upon killer assist is the exact number. Yeah.
I feel like it wouldn't be very good on Karthus at all because Leywaste's cooldown is already super short, so is Defile. It only really resets the cooldown on his wall, and it doesn't really buy enough time to get Requiem down.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem with Karthus, is that 15 seconds just isn't enough. So it needs to be someone who, I think honestly, Gragas maybe might be the best champion in the game with a Katarina passive. Because the problem with Jarvan is that he doesn't have enough innate damage to be able to pick up a kill. LeBlanc.
Well, remember, it's off of assists also. So if Jarvan's doing a good job tanking and his allies are picking up those KBs, it'll work out. Also, I have no idea what my resolution is going to look like, guys. It looks fine. Does it look fine? I think it looks fine. We'll see when it actually goes into the game lobby. I didn't get a chance to reset my stuff between Day of Dominion and today. When I'm actually playing, I can't play from the TV just because it's a really awkward position to be in. So I had to play from the monitor, which is 720p, and the TV can go 1080. So I don't know what this resolution is going to look like when it loads. It should still be fine at 720. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm just like freaked out about the broadcast quality. Oh, Lissandra. Someone brings out a really good point.
I'm just agreeing that I think LeBlanc would be the best. Because the thing is that LeBlanc's ult is only a 30-second cooldown Mimic, and so two kills or assists and you get your ult back immediately.
LeBlanc wouldn't have the mana to handle that, not by a long shot.
That's true.
It would be really funny to see it on Master Yi, because then Master Yi would get resets upon resets. That's just unnecessary, though.
Yeah, LeBlanc's ult is free, but her other spells are a little bit expensive. And the thing about LeBlanc is that you really don't want to be building an Athene's on her if you don't have to. Obviously, an Athene's pretty much alleviates the mana problem that you get from resets, because you get 12% of your mana back on kill or assist.
With how much damage her Sigil of Silence does, that might keep her up pretty well. Let's do the intros for this game, though, since we're slacking a little bit here. This is the first round of the Dominate Gaming Dominate Dominion tournament number 76. This is going to be Explosive Dishwasher versus Average Joe's. Explosive Dishwasher's team, Darkmaster743 playing as Timo, DPS Mistakes playing as Tristana Shadowblade, playing as Ezreal, VVV Sticks playing as Imumu, and Shooting Torque playing as Malphite. I'm one half of your commentators. I am Gander, and casting with me is
Brian Gold River, and the other half of your players for the day is Average Joe's, or for this game rather, is Average Joe's. It is Togomi Bayakura playing Katarina, Penguin Peng on Annie, Vinyl LB on Kale, SG Rukasu on Vayne, and Jake Master 64 are going to be playing Jarvan the Force.
Okay, other than there are going to be a little bit of a black border on the side that I can't fix at the moment, but other than that, does it look okay? Resolution, things like that. My XSplit preview, I mean, it looks great there, but I don't know how that transitions out to the stream. What I'm looking for is minimal fuzziness, because it gets really fuzzy if the resolution's whack. Yeah, practice yellow first game, 10 revives. In Dragon Force 157, there's been one pentakill in all of the Dominion tournament history. It was by Armed Weasel. He was playing as Draven.
Oh, Draven.
I'm 80% sure on that it was Armed Weasel and Draven. I know it was me in Skill Factory casting that game. So, start off, Timo with a Sheen. Something that we don't see very often, and it can be really useful. Because it does really amplify your poke at the beginning.
His cooldowns are a bit long for it, but you're not going to notice that until the fight gets really extended. And it could be a Lichbane rush, I suppose, but it could also actually just be an AD Timo building for a Trinity rush, which actually probably wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah, because of having move quick in the speed shrine, you really don't need the boots too badly for this first fight. He's getting in there putting some damage on Katarina immediately. Wants to see about chipping her down. Katarina is a pretty scary character the longer the game goes on. Malphite and Vayne both arriving, poke back and forth. poke pretty important to this initial fight. You want to be able to stop the other guys from capturing without really putting yourself in too much harm's way.
Annie with that stun is going to be a little bit scary. They have the EQ. There's the knock up onto 3, but Katarina doesn't go in. Mumu's actually the one to go in and get stunned by Annie there, but the stun is only onto 1 node. Okay, there's the Silver Bull's proc, and just going to reset a little bit. Styx is not sitting on any health potions. He only picked up 2 mana potions there for the first fight, and so he's not going to be able to regen this entire time. And with him being their primary tank, I think it's only a matter of time before Average Joe's picks up the windmill fight here, just because Mumu is so low.
Teemo does have the Sheen, but he's not really using his Sheen procs too much. And J4 with the assist for the kill on Teemo, and a Mumu dying as well. I don't know how I feel about that manage toss.
Yeah, it was a little bit ambitious there, I think. And in the bot lane, meanwhile, both Tristana and Kale took each other out. However, the wave was pushing so far in Average Joe's favor that they actually managed to get not only the neutral off, but also about a 1/6 of the cap there. And Windmill is still technically neutral. Revives have been used. Penguin Peng at about 50%. Rukasu also at about 50%. And they're just going to wait for Jarvan to come back. Jarvan did go down, I think, but did not use his revive. Teemo going down now to Katarina. Katarina jumping in with those resets. The ignite down onto Shadowblade. He's going to E4. Can he pick up the kill? No, Katarina levels! And they're actually going to exchange back and forth. Rukasa now popping her own ult on Vayne there. Banish Toss misses actually. Penguin Peng pretty low. Could go down here, but Jarvan comes in with the EQ, and Rukasa actually going to go down to that. Spare from a move. The AoE a little bit too much to deal with. There's Curse of the Sad Mummy down to Penguin Pen. The auto attack is enough. A double kill for Styx. Juke Master trying not to get juked. But VV6 going to be able to get out for a moment. There's the EQ though, and Katarina jumping in, going to be able to pick up the kill, and that is going to be the windmill.
And the windmill now looks like it's finally going to be turned around and nope! Ezreal, not able to connect with Katarina. They were split just enough to prevent that from happening, and Teemo, very unfortunate there in getting burst by Katarina. There is a little bit of a disconnect going on for Tristan. We'll see if they throw down that pause in a moment here or not. Bottom lane, Kale is able to get a neutral on that point, but that is because his lane opponent has gone a little bit AWOL, and there is the pause.
Alright, there's the pause. We did tell the teams that there's a pause. Well, we didn't, but the teams were told. Teemo is actually going for that Lich Bane as the first item, not going for the Trinity, so it's going to be a pure AP Teemo. Not too often do you see a Lich Bane rush on an AP Teemo.
No, it's not something that occurs too often. However, it can be useful because it gives him movement speed. And Teemo, one movement speed item is, okay, this is nice. But when you get 2 of them, because you often see a Hextech Sweeper as well, it gets kind of scary. Because then he'll probably go into, he's either going to finish the Lich Bane and then go into Boots. Probably Boots 1, I would guess, and then go into the Sweeper and then finish the Boots is something that I've seen occasionally. Usually I see Sheen into Boots 1, then complete the Lich Bane, but he's doing it a little bit differently than how I've experienced it before. Looking at the rest of the items that are going on the list, Tristana start with a Prospector's Blade into Codex. That's a little interesting. We have Malphite going for some MR, and Amumu going for a little bit more AP that we normally see with those pen shoes. However, something you commonly see on tank, maybe not commonly, but you see it enough that it's not surprising to me anyway, that you play Amumu, Leona, Malphite, whoever, you get the pen shoes, and then you build tanky with the rest of their items, just so that you get that little extra out of your base damages, is something that we see occasionally. Just because they build sorcerer shoes doesn't necessarily mean they're going full on AP. So don't flame your teammates too hard until you see their next item.
A Kindle Gem will probably be into a Sweeper. What I want to know is, will the second Red Crystal be going into a Haunting Guise for a more AP focused build? Still gives you a little bit of health because of the Red Crystal component. Or is he going to be going into an Aegis of the Legion into Locket, which would probably be the other choice out of that Red Crystal, and trying to go for a little bit more defense. Having that magic resist aura is going to be super crucial to the team against the combined burst from Annie and Katarina. If Annie can get that 4-man stun down, and then Katarina can jump in with ult, that's pretty much going to be an instant at least 1 reset, if not 2.
Yes, Gung Ho Gun Lion, that is the pentakill guy, Armed Weasel in the Twitch chat. That's him. Yeah, he had a penta stolen out from under him once too by Fancy Wolf. He almost had He almost had literally all of the pentas in Dominion. He would have had 2 of them, but that KB got picked up by someone else.
What is KB?
Killing blow.
Killing blow. Okay.
It's a term that doesn't get used in League very often, but that's what I've always said in different games that I play, because that's the abbreviation that's always been used. So I've gotten stuck with that. That's why you also hear me say KDR a lot instead of KDA, because then the what's it called? Kills to deaths ratio means how many kills did you get for each time that you were alive. Whereas in this game, it's kills, deaths, assists, which I don't even know how you calculate that. I guess it's you get this many kills and assists per death, but there's not assists in FPS and stuff, at least not back when I played.
Well, we do have Annie building into that faster out of ages out of the Catalyst. Did start out with the Prospect Searching, but now it's switching over to that build. So you're going to be going for a pretty tanky build there with the extra health. We'll take a little bit of ramp-up time. The ramp-up time is different in Dominion from Summoners Rift, is that right?
For which items?
On a Rod of Ages.
Yeah, they changed Roa and Tier to stack a little bit faster in Dominion so that we could actually use those items, which is really nice.
Yeah. So it will mean a little bit of a ramp-up time for her, but it'll probably be worth in the end. Annie with her Molten Shield does get a lot of resists for free, and so just building health on a champion that can get resists from a skill ends up being a lot more worth than building the resists.
Oh, hello, Silence, in the Twitch chat. Thanks for coming out for Day of Dominion on Thursday and casting a game with me. It's nice to have you around. Thanks for checking out the show today. And I just want to say to the people that missed it, there was a 24-hour stream of Dominion that happened on Thursday to celebrate Dominion's 2nd birthday. Dominion is now just slightly more than 2 years old. If you want to take a look at those yourself, you'll actually have to go to the past broadcasts on Twitch to watch them. So if you want some more Dominion after the tournament's over, you can go and check those out. They will be cut up into individual games at some point, but it's going to take a while for me to do that, so there's no ETA on it. Don't worry, don't worry too much. I will let you know as videos post. They'll probably post slowly throughout the next month or 2.
You need to make sure that you save the videos forever, or they'll get deleted after a week. Okay.
Oh, I did. I did that
right.
like within 10 minutes of the stream going offline after we lost the best DD tournament ever. That was the best one that we've ever cast. Like, not just you and me cast. That's just one of the best ones ever, period. That has actually been run.
It was like 72 or something, right?
It was 73.
73, yeah. I remember because I actually wanted to use the VOD of that on a casting application that I was going to fill out. And then I was like, wait, what happened to this stream? That was like the best tournament I've ever casted.
Yeah. It was, the players agreed, the casters agreed, the admins agreed, the viewers agreed, everyone. Nope, Twitch failed. That should be some guy's job. Just, hey man.
Just to
every time the DD
broadcast.
No, every time the DD stream ends, you go through and click and make sure it's saved.
Yeah.
But it turns out it actually wasn't anyone's fault because Twitch stopped doing the auto archive and we didn't know that it didn't do that anymore. Because normally Gorman or Feeds will go back like a week or 2 later and click it to save it, but they didn't know that they had to this time so quickly, so it freaked out.
Oh no, Malphite went after Kale instead of going after the creeps, and so the point got captured for free there. So it is a 4 cap now for Average Joe's here. Final B might be in a little bit of trouble, but he does have the tower to help him out a little bit. Unstoppable Force was used already, and he does have Reckoning available, or the intervention. There's the intervention. Reckoning also coming across, and he's just going to be able to get out towards the center of the map.
Yeah, and Vinyl's still low on health. Malphite, I feel like Malphite wants to do something here, but he just doesn't have the health to be able to do it, and is defeated, unfortunately. Amumu heading down the lower part of the map. Kale's probably going to get evicted. And is he going to land this bandage toss? No, he's not going to go for it, looks like. Just looks like he wants to zone her out.
Yeah, Six hesitating with that skill a lot. He wanted to wait for Kale to be in a position where it was going to be hard to juke the bandage toss, but he was sort of juking himself, kind of, and ended up not quite able to pick up the Q. And even if he had, I'm not sure if he could have picked up the kill because his ult was down there, but maybe he could have.
Minions being cleaned up off of the refinery. Team moving out once again. Tristana returned to the bottom lane. And Dishwasher not doing too well here so far. Down by about 100 points. However, that's something that can be recovered. They just need to get a hold of a tower. It looks like Ezreal going for the capture at the drill. It's going to force a response from Joe's as they move out. Styx inserting himself in the lane between them to zone them out, hopefully. And he gets just barely interrupted before the tower can go neutral. Fight breaks out. True Shot Barrage helps pick up a kill on J4. Seriously weakens Annie in the process. She's going to be taken down. Vayne by herself. Deathly loses crowd control. Tries to tumble out. Can't get enough distance. It's slow. So brutal. Keeping her in a Mumu's AoE. She can only knock back one of them. And Malphite picks up the kill.
So over in bot lane just there, Kayle and Tristana had an incredibly close fight. And Tristana lived by about 30 or 40 HP there. Minions almost took her out at the end. Vinyl LB going to be able to pick up his revenge there. But Intervention had not been up in that fight. And if it is up, the fight will go a little bit differently. However, Tristana has actually rushed a Blackfire Torch there. Teemo is not able to stop the quarry from being neutralized.
No, unfortunately, at top end of the map, it Styx by himself. Malphite on his way there. And Katarina with the jump through J4 to escape. J4 makes a great door. Remember to be a door for your Katarinas and Lee Sins when they're on your team. There's a Cataclysm there, boxing people in. Defensive Garrison used on the tower. And that nice interrupt from Malphite on Katarina.
But it's not going to be enough, and that's a pretty important engaged cooldown that's going to be down for quite a while. So has 2 minutes left on it. He is reviving, but he's not going to revive with his Unstoppable Force. So yeah, he interrupted the cap for a little bit, but he's not going to be able to use that CC when he gets back. True Shot Barrage dodged by Jarvan there. Malphite is coming back. You remember, no Unstoppable Force, but he does have his other abilities, Seismic Shard and Ground Slam. Not enough to take out Jarvan, and the Q from Ezreal not going to hit there. There's actually the Ghost Proc by Torque. He wants to get in, but Vayne has the Condemn, taking a lot of pain from Shadowblade. There's the final hour. Actually pops a Cleanse there, and now refocusing on a Malphite after the Ghost expires. You need to Condemn into the wall, dodging the Mystic shots out the stun onto Shadowblade, and everyone's just going to disengage.
You have Ezreal, oh
going down
dear.
in the bot lane again.
Kayle picked up in the bottom lane. Top lane, Ezreal and Malphite were doing a really good job, just they weren't able to stick it out up there long enough for them to make a play out of it. Vayne actually did not get a lot out of that final hour, but its cooldown is not terribly wrong, so hopefully she doesn't miss too much with it. Katarina moving down to the bottom. Teemo is extremely gankable by a Katarina. We'll see if she decides to go for that or not against him, or she's going to pocket that for later. Yep, she's just going to pick him up with a Sinister Seal instead.
Yeah, and Katarina getting fed is something that pretty much any team wants to happen, assuming that Katarina is on their team. Now, the windmill did just goes over, so it's a 3-cap back over to Explosive Dishwasher, since average is sent Katarina in the bot lane. But their Katarina is 7-1, has a Landry's Torment already in addition to Sorcery Shoes. That's a lot of penetration.
And Malphite taking a bunch of damage there is okay for now. Spirit Vision's Merc Tread's doing a lot for him, especially against Katarina's damage. Down the bottom, J4 helping out. The stun from Annie helping to pick up the kill against Ezreal. And Tristana is just going to back away. Malphite by himself on the tower. Needs someone else to show up. Tristana's going to get a little bit of damage in. Malphite can be picked up. Cataclysm, nowhere to go. Tristana uses the... Oh, nice! Picks it up with the Blackfire Torch on Jarvan.
And almost had the micro to take out Katarina there, but Katarina was just a little bit too much damage. Can you avoid the shroom? He can avoid the shroom, but he cannot pick up Styx.
I actually kind of wished Amumu would have just walked over and stood on the shroom for Katarina to shunpo onto. That would have been beautiful.
Well, I think Katarina saw the shroom going down, and that's why she didn't pursue any further.
Up at the top part
it would
of
have
the
been a
map.
nice bait.
Unstoppable Force on Katarina, and he's going to walk over for Jarvan as well. There's plenty of minions there. They need to be able to pick those up or sweep J4 off the tower so they can simply recap it. And it looks like most of the minions are going to die off to the tower. And Malphite, oh dear.
Coming in as the final hour. Malphite getting focused, gets condemned backwards with no stun. There's a team motion, remember, everyone can see it, and it's actually going to get procced there by a minion, slowing everyone. Shoot Shot Barrage coming across, picks up the kill onto Jarvan. Vayne now trying to micro from the back, but it's 2 versus 4 right now, and pretty much everyone's low. Bandage Toss was dodged, that was pretty crucial. Some damage done onto Ezreal, he's actually going to Arcane Shift out, and Annie and Vayne going to be forced off the point right now. Kayle did go down to Tristana in the ball lane, and again, it was pretty close there. But the BFT really helping Kayle Tristana out, in addition to having that Negatron Cloak now to deal with the damage out of Kayle.
Malphite moving up towards the top part of the map. They have minions coming in behind them. Seems to be okay for now. Amumu, though, he does have some MR going for him. Just a little bit, though. He has those pen shoes, has that sweeper. Looks like he's going into Spirit Visions next. So yeah, just opening up with the pen shoes, utility item, and then going into the tanky stuff after that. Not exactly full-on AP Amumu, but he's definitely going to be a little bit more threatening than the average full tank Amumu will be.
And gonna pick up a little bit more magic resist with the Spectres. Cal could be building into a Spirit Visage. Could be. I would expect a Odin's Veil builds out of that, right?
Odin's out of
Spectre's Cal.
Out of Spectre's
Cal.
I don't remember actually. I haven't played a tank.
I don't actually know how they. Anyway, Vayne diving onto Malphite does pick up the kill. The Silver Bolt's proc from the Condemn there, and Jake Master actually gonna pick up the kill and not die to the turret, but he might die to the Teemo. He got the neutral off. Vayne, you need to get a Condemn off into the wall, but you're gonna go down. And Jarvan actually brawling
clicks
for
the
quite
tower
a while,
accidentally instead of clicking on Teemo. Did you see that? He slightly began a channel instead of swinging against his opponent there. That's one thing you have to be careful of, is getting body blocked by towers or minions or other characters in the game.
Alright, Annie picks up that kill with a Disintegrate, and Styx actually bandage tosses 2 Tibbers. Penguin Peng trying to micro around, not staying in the despair for too long. Bandage toss misses. Tibbers doing a good amount of pain, and there's a lot of burn from the Leandries also, but ultimately Mumu is going to live, and Katarina is not going to live. Can Annie get out? There's a Seismic Stride from Malphite. Goes procced also in 1 Gram Slot or 1 more auto attack, and she is going to be dead.
Yeah, that True Shot Barrage from Ezreal picking up the kill on Katarina up at the tower. And oh, great Condemn by Vayne. There's the Cleanse trying to escape. Airborne by J4, shut down. And they really could have used Malphite at this top tower, especially considering how low Mumu's health is, and he really hasn't gotten all of his tankiness rolling for him yet.
Wow, a great dodge on the Shroom, but it does get hit almost immediately after. Bandage toss away from Katarina into a good ultimate. Mumu picks up the kill, not Ezreal. Final hour from Vayne. Can actually cleanse off the something, I'm not sure. And Katarina cannot quite survive. And that's the thing about Katarina, you need to have teammates setting up kills for you.
Yeah, even if they're just taking hits, even if they're just eating crowd control for you, like that's use Katarina as a weapon, because she can do so much damage over the course of such a short period of time, as long as you constantly reload her. Annie pretty good at wave clear. Is one of the things that's most underrated about Annie is the way that she can just swing by a point, throw Incinerate on a wave, and then leave, and then that wave can build up. And she bails out towers really well for that reason too. Something that I've learned recently while playing her. You just drive by Incinerate waves, and the minions just seem to be in your favor a lot more throughout the game. Ezreal gonna go for a recall here. That's kind of an interesting decision, especially with this 4v3 now looming. Without Ezreal there, it really opens up an opportunity for them to push.
So Tristana actually just missed Rocket Jump onto Kayle and Balling, and Kayle has her ultimate. Gonna be able to pick up the kill on Tristana, and Tristana just revived. So no revive over onto the bot. So Corey is actually gonna go over. And I think I missed a much more exciting fight in top lane while I was casting that.
There wasn't really a lot going on. It was just a nice combination of J4 Cataclysm and Katarina ult. Because Malphite had used his Unstoppable Force already. So when Katarina started ulting, they didn't really have anything to throw down on that. And the entire team just sort of got blenderized. But Ezreal wasn't even there to help because he had recalled. Ezreal could have picked up a kill on J4 and done some more damage in that fight as well while it was going on by staying safely off of the tower behind the wall up here. But he went for that recall instead, and I feel like it turned out very poorly for his team.
Oh no, Vayne getting baited by Teemo there. Tried to go in because Teemo's level devil, and why would you not want to kill him? Maybe because he has 2 team members there who are going to kill you.
I would rather
And
kill the
Katarina
Ezreal
does.
than the Teemo. Ezreals make me somewhat more enraged, but I guess I'm a different kind of person than most. Teemo and Ezreal doing the smart thing. They're heading up towards the windmill while Amumu keeps other people away. Amumu now heading up there, and I don't know how I feel about that, because that's going to give Annie plenty of time to get back up in range. He's going to be able to intercept. No, Banish Toss does not connect. Minions should be able to push that over to a full capture, though.
Yeah, they'll be fine with the help of the minions. Vinyl Beam, meanwhile, uses his intervention there. Gets ulted back by Tristana, but Shooting Torque is going to survive. And Katarina going to need to come down. This is a quest objective. They don't want to give it up. Vayne flanking from the other side also. He's going to be able to get the neutral, but he won't be able to get more. Got the grounded shield. Unstoppable Force onto Vayne. Condemn comes in, actually, and that Condemn saved Malphite there.
Yes, and I also think that Unstoppable Force, even though he didn't capture the tower, was good timing for him, because he might not have gotten out otherwise. So
Yeah,
even
he
though
used
he was
it.
pretty close.
He used it as a gap closer to escape and also a CC, and so nice use to escape. I think maybe he could have waited for the capture or for the neutral, but because two people are there, the neutral wouldn't have even meant all that much. It would have given him 100 gold and the other team 150 gold net. So
That would have been a bad trade. I mean, there is a Nexus health damage that would have occurred, but is that Nexus health damage worth that much gold when they can recapture it so easily? I'm sure someone can prove that with math and science, but overall, it's better that he was not dead, because that could have opened up fights elsewhere. And Kayle went up to the top of the map. There's a Cataclysm. Ezreal jumps right out of that. True Shot Barrage hits plenty of targets. He backs away from the ulting Katarina, which is a very good choice to make. And Stick staying alive. There's that invulnerable on Katarina. Ezreal is going to have to back away. He doesn't have his True Shot Barrage available to stop Kayle, but he is circling around to head up to the top part of the map. Could Arcane Shift up and knock her out? No, he doesn't even need to.
Trouble. Yeah, Kayle is pretty glass cannon there. She does have the Moon Flare Spellblade.
Ezreal, don't do it. Ezreal, don't do it. He stood in range of that Wooglitz, and I knew the second that it was going to end, she was going to hit him with something, circle out, and come back. I saw the future, Ezreal, man. I tried to warn you from the past.
Alright, well, Teemo coming in does manage to pick up the kill, so maybe it was all planned by Ezreal there. He wanted to give Teemo a kill to make Teemo even more of a global bait. Because who doesn't want to kill Teemo? I mean, look at that guy. How could you not want to murder him to death? But bot lane, Kayle actually going to murder Tristana to death and start a capture on this point.
Yeah, if you can't kill Teemo, might as well kill his friends.
Yeah, Teemo has a crush on Tristana, right?
Something like that. I don't read the lore, so I'm actually not as versed as some people are.
Alright, and I think that quest objective was available for like 12 or 13 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and finally got picked up there in the bot lane. Meanwhile, top lane Malphite getting exhausted, gets slid a little bit by Jarvan, and Vayne to pick up the kill. Vayne has not been picking up too many kills this game. They really want to get gold onto that late game hyper carry. And we'll be able to actually...
Cataclysm.
It's Katarina that gets that one. And Ezreal's going to be able to Arcane Shift out, but with 4 top and Kayle holding bot right now, this is almost going to be a 4 cap. Tristana manages with Katarina, but Bleed of the Ruin King? I thought that item wasn't on this map.
They added it recently.
Okay.
Recently-ish, like a month ago, something like that. And oh, that True Shot Barrage interrupting J4 up at the top. And Ezreal with a lot of cooldown reduction. We're seeing a lot of Arcane Shifts coming out of him in rapid succession. Those 3 over here saving his butt from certain destruction. Vayne's looking for it. Is going to get it. Can she finish him off? No, unfortunately, she is not. Now, Ezreal needs to go for this tower very, very quickly if he wants to get the neutral. And there he is, starting to move forward, not concerning himself with the minions. Knows he needs to get this neutral instead. So Kayle swept off the bottom point by Malphite and Amumu in the lower part of the map.
It was actually a pretty epic duel. Kayle did use her invulnerability. It wasn't quite enough. Malphite has picked up a Guardian Angel and a Quicksilver Sash there. So there's like no killing him.
Katarina stepping on that Noxious Trap. Noxious Traps synchronize pretty well with Leandri's Torment if you pick one of those up at any point.
But there's the EQ onto Ezreal. Tries to Arcane Shift out, gets the True Shot Barrage across, but True Shot Barrage is effectively a 1-second stun onto yourself because that's how long it takes to cast, and he is going to go down as a result. Katarina actually ulting, and Amumu brought himself closer to that ult. And Malphite came in, he actually just used his QSS onto something, getting kited by Vayne, but Vayne switching over to a Mumu, one more auto attack onto Malphite, popping the final hour to try to get to a Mumu, but that's going to allow Malphite to escape. Unless Malphite stays around, there's the unstoppable force. Annie coming in, and that just looks like a nice double kill for Annie, driving in to pick up one of them, and Vayne to pick up the other.
That was actually one of the few good Guardian Angels that we've seen in Dominion competition. Usually that item just falls kind of flat, but it worked out just fine that time. And oh dear, Kale! That was almost
Kale,
very effective. Very
not quite
close.
long enough on that intervention.
Katarina trying to take this bottom point. Tristana not going to let that happen. Nope, is going to let that happen. Can't quite stop that. Did not have... Looks like she didn't have the interrupt... No, she didn't have her interrupt available to be able to get Katarina out of that. True Shot Barrage is going to come across and interrupt one of them. And it looks... Did it tag Vayne? I didn't see that it did. But I guess so, since she stopped capping. And she's going to let the minions take it.
Can finish it off.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't actually really like Tristana's build. I would...
It feels like it's missing an item.
Yeah, so she didn't spec a Wooglets because she's just fighting against the AP of Kill. And I guess Wooglets can't block like too much burst damage from Kill, but she could Wooglets during the intervention, and then that's effectively negating the fact that intervention happens. So I'd really like to see that item on her.
Maybe she'll pick it up a little bit later. Because I was wondering what was missing. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. She doesn't have all that extra AP. Katarina coming around from the back and picks up that killing blow against the Malphite. Once again, in the bottom, Kale and Tristana not getting along.
Ezreal actually manages to snipe Katarina from the well there. Tristana going to jump onto Kale, but it's not quite enough. And that's the other thing, is that Tristana went for that BFT. She didn't have it just now, obviously, but she went for the BFT. She's trying to be an assassin, but then she's spec'd so much defense. She has the Abyssal and the Moonflare Spellblade.
Well, another thing is she's in the bottom lane as well, so she's not getting the full advantage that she would normally get of throwing down BFT and then jumping in on someone, because she's not roaming a lot.
Alright, Teemo being Teemo and doing things Teemo does. And Styx going to come in. Jarvan does pick up the kill with that Cataclysm, but goes down almost immediately, and then cannot cancel the Cataclysm because you can't press R when you're dead unless you're Karthus. And Amumu is going to go down. A nice Wiggless use there from Katarina. And Shadowblade just going to kite his way out. Is going for that blue-ish build. He's actually picked up both the Trinity Force and the Iceborne Gauntlet there, so a lot of kiting potential from him, but he's against a mostly AP team, so that armor not helping out too much, and Kale gonna be able to pick up the kill on Trist. The other thing about Trist build is that, like, if you're going, you can't try to fight Kale in a sustained fight. Kale is going to win every single sustained fight with basically anyone because of the way her passive works. And Tristana going for that many defensive sets as opposed to just going for the ability to 100 to 0 means that she's trying to extend the fight. And she's not going to be able to win a fight against the kill that she's trying to extend.
Yeah, overall, in the top lane, Dishwasher's team has actually done pretty well control-wise with their Teemo and Ezreal. They've been able to take advantage of the crowd control from Malphite and Amumu throughout the game, but just some strategic decision-making didn't favor them in a couple of places either. So this was actually a really good first game. I'm really glad we got to cast this one despite the delays and things, because there's some solid stuff coming out of both teams. The cat use as well, some good Wooglet stuff near the end of the game, and it's going to be average Joes that advance on to the next round.
And the game had 18 more deaths added to the number of deaths of Teemo.
Does that stream still
but
up?
Teemo had a good game. I don't know if that stream's still up, actually. But, no, Teemo actually played that pretty well, despite the fact that he was playing a champion that absolutely sucks. And I hate Teemo.
Teemo he's not nice. Teemo also, from what I understand, is a sociopath, according to the lore. Damage dealt. Guys, if anyone would like to screenshot that and do the math to tell me what the percentage margin difference between these guys is. I really want to know what that is. Because look at it. They're within 100. No, they're within 220. No, like 200 and something teen. They're pretty darn close together. It's like 213 points between the top three. That's really interesting. That's something we don't see hardly ever, for the spread to be that close together. That's some crazy stuff. And let's take a look and find out who the graveyard hero for this game was. It is... Are you happy, Reingold?
Was it Teemo?
342 on Teemo, yep.
I don't like Teemo.
There you go.
There's a Teemo last week also.
Alright, well, we're going to get the next game set up for you. I'm going to throw to a commercial real quick while we get in the lobby for the next one. And then we will have another game for you in just a moment.